What's up, Andre?
What's going on with you? What's going on?
Just hanging out. Just open this up. Build up. How you feel about mental health, man? You think enough people care about it?
Um, Mental health is a good topic on the desk. Uh, People go through a lot of things. You never know what's going on. Some people are scared to talk to other people because they think they get judged about it. Some people build stuff up and breaks them down inside and outside, and you never know what people going through. You can say something to somebody not knowing what they was going through, and then make them break down. It'll probably make them even kill themselves. You just never know.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. Like, you can hear somebody going through some shit, and we'll focus more on what they saying and their actions, and not, maybe they really dealing with some mental illness shit. And we'll dismiss that. Like we won't even give that shit a thought. So that's what I mean. Like, do we care enough? Do people care enough about or even believe that mental health is a real thing? Because it's definitely a real thing. A lot of people deal with it. I think I deal with it myself. I take medication for it. Um, Hold on, something going on outside. I'm like, what the fuck is that? Oh, okay. The gardener here. I'm like, who the fuck is that? All right, but yeah, mental health is a real thing. I just don't think enough people care about it. Enough people in a daily routine in their daily life really think about that. Now when you say that now, do we give is that an excuse for people that have mental health to act the ass? So you know what I mean? Like when you go into it like that, then it gets even deeper. Because like me, like I said, for an example, I believe I deal with mental health. That's why I take medication for it. Now, do I get an excuse for me knowing that I deal with it and me reacting a certain way because of it? You know what I mean? So that's why I think a lot of people have issues with the mental health discussion all the way around, because people who know that they have it, some of them use it and then hide behind it and say, it's because I dealt with mental illness. You know what I mean? If I explain that right.
I understand you 100%, and I know what you're saying. But to piggyback on what you said earlier, people think they're okay. They say they're okay, but we don't know what happens behind closed doors. Like you can ask them how they doing, they can say, "I'm fine. I'm doing fine. Everything all right." But me personally, I could feel the spirits of people. I know when somebody is not all right, and I know when something is wrong with somebody. So I could just go and tell somebody what's really wrong, because I could feel that it's something is wrong with them. And what you piggyback on what you said a few minutes ago, it's not an excuse. You could fix it yourself. Mental health is something you could fix. Mental health is a spirit of fear. Mental health is something you could break out of. Mental health, you do not have to be in there for the rest of your life. Mental health is something you could pray over and ask to be removed. You do not have to be in mental health for the rest of your life. It's not a death trap. You don't have to stay in that position that you're in. It's something you could easily fix.
My bad, I was on mute trying to share the room. It is, with medication, conversation, stuff like that. Um, but a lot of people don't even want to admit that they have it. You know what I mean? Like it took me a while, bro. You know what I'm saying? It took actually. I don't want to go into it. I'm just stating the story because I really don't be liking it. I mention it, but I really try to stay the fuck away from it. But I didn't really recognize like accept this shit until after my son passed away 3 years ago. Then that's when I'm like, yeah, I'm like, I was already dealing with it all along, but I was like, really, like, nigga, I think you really, because it be like I wake up and I just be in a fucked up mood. For a while I was like that, but I didn't pay it no never mind. I just thought, I'm just stressing on life, this and that. But then when my son passed away and them demons start coming out, I was like, yeah, I got to go. I'm going to holler at my doctor. But it took me like 10 years. Because I'm from Compton, California. I just seen so much shit, been through so much shit, did so much shit. You know what I'm saying? I just never really thought nothing of, we didn't even know nothing about mental health shit growing up. Like you would hear about it, but you didn't know what the fuck that was. You know what I'm saying? Like these niggas is bugging. You know what I'm saying? I got no motherfucking mental health, nigga. I got trauma, this and that, but all that contributes to your mental health. But you don't know that growing up, because where I come from in the hood, nigga, we dismiss shit like that. ADHD, we dismiss shit like that. You know what I'm saying? So when you get older, and you start hearing these stories about mental health and this and that, and it starts to sound familiar to who you are and what you going through, we still don't be wanting to accept it or recognize it. We dismiss it. You know what I'm saying? So I think mental health needs to be taught more in the black community particularly, but in all communities too. Um, we need to educate our people on the side effects, what to look for, um, how to address a person who may be dealing with mental health. Because if a person it's one thing when someone is approachable. It's another thing when someone's dealing with that and they unapproachable or they appear to be. It's like move move. No mama no. Um, how do you approach somebody with mental health that seems like they unapproachable? You know what I'm saying? Why mute? I'm gonna start pinging people up. Start pinging people. I usually like to sit for like 10, 20 minutes and let new
Good
people get in.
morning.
Hey, what's up, Jan? What's up, John? What's going on?
Nothing, bouncing all over the place on this Clubhouse world.
Yeah, I was today, but I think I'm gonna just I'm gonna sit in this room or reopen another one. But I think I'm gonna just sit in this room for the day.
Absolutely. I
Yeah,
I'm realizing that people don't care about to answer your question. I don't think people do. And people say and talk to people any kind of way and they don't understand how words are. We all have had a trying tough 2 years as a collective, as a whole, as a people, and I just really feel like nobody is giving each other grace, especially in the Black community. But I want to just talk about overall, people have been harsher and they've been more frustrated and entitled, and they have to understand that this life we're living, you weren't the only one who went through some type of strife or struggle. Like I have situational PTSD. Like I can't have a person screaming at me in close proximity because of the things that I went through. And I try not to do the same thing to other people, because I know how it makes me feel. And it actually it's so bad that I could start shaking. I can go into a panic attack where my whole body just goes into panic mode. Neurological damage that I have that I'm healing right now. So we have to be mindful of how we treat people. We have to be mindful of how we talk to people. And if you need the help, there's help out there, especially now it's free. You don't even have to pay for therapy anymore because of everything that's been going on. So I don't feel like people value each other's mental health.
I agree. Not enough people care.
Hey Vincent, hey
Hey,
y'all.
what's up, bro? What's up, Nikki?
What's up? What you doing?
Man, see what the fuck going on. We,
Period.
we just here talking about mental health, man.
What
So
you say? Because I couldn't hear
the
you.
necessary topic that we don't talk enough about. You
That's
know,
a
I said about
fact.
the
enough
education.
people, enough. We don't have enough people that actually care, that's educated on it, that are willing to reach out to the ones who don't in our community and educate them. I feel like we don't have enough. There's not enough care, enough education, enough awareness of mental health in our community.
Kiki, I can't hear Vincent, but your music is loud.
Oh, sorry.
What you
Feel
say, Black?
free, feel free to mute me if I accidentally go on unmute. I'm sorry, guys.
Kiki, you good, boo? You
We
good?
cool. No, I couldn't hear nothing you said. Like
Oh, what I was
I
saying,
didn't hear
what I was saying.
nothing.
Oh, I got the gardeners and shit out here. My bad. Um, I was just saying that I think in our community we don't have enough people who care, who are educated on it, who know the peep the signs, who are willing to reach out to those. Because like I was telling my man Andre, you have some people that are approachable that are dealing with mental health and may not know that's what they're dealing with, and you can approach those. The ones that are unapproachable, we tend to just say fuck it, throw our hands up, walk away, or we don't even be educated enough to see the signs in our community. And I just really think that's because we don't have enough people that care. Because like I was telling him when I was younger, about 10 years ago, I was dealing. If mental health is what I'm dealing with today, I was dealing with that 10 years ago and didn't even know. It wasn't until my son passed away 3 years ago that I fucking finally recognized it. And at that time, my I'm 40 years old, so my mental was on a different level. So I reached out to my doctor and asked him for something to help. But you have those who don't even know, don't even know the signs, don't even know.
Vincent,
Yeah,
one, my condolences to you. I also lost a son 6 years ago. So I know exactly what it is to go to like through a deep depression, you know?
man. How old was your son?
He was just a couple months.
Oh,
Yeah.
my son was he was 17. He played for Crenshaw High Band. He passed away in his sleep from a brain aneurysm. And I don't want to go into the details of that shit, but what fucked me up, it wasn't even my son's death. I'm gonna be honest with you, because how I always looked at life is my son ain't no my kids ain't no important than the next man kids. My kids just important to me. And as kids
Amen.
born in the world with cancer who know they only have 6 months, 8 months to live, who would do anything in their life to live. So that wasn't what put me in that mental state. It was the shit that I went through with his mom, the fuckery she did, the leaving the state with another nigga after we broke up to get at I don't know, to piss me off or whatever the fuck she thought that was gonna do for 2 years and take him and then have my son get molested on her watch, and it's still my fault because I'm the father and I had a baby with. It was just all that, right? All that. Then knowing that when he went, me and you have no type of relationship no more. Like it's officially fucking done. So that was the little relief I got out of all that. But ultimately, just knowing all the ups and downs, and I could have been there. That just put me in a real fucked up state. But what I'm saying is, I was old enough and mature enough to recognize it, and then to either reach out for help. But then we have those in not just our community, but in all communities that don't even know the signs, who are not educated. Because when I was growing up, we heard about. I'm not bad about giving beans out. Please pass the beans out. Um, we knew we heard about it, but we didn't really care. We didn't care too much about it. Like ADHD, you know what I'm saying? We don't really, in our community, we didn't care too much about that at one point. We didn't think that was us. We denied it. Why is Florida boy not up?
Listen,
Is Florida up?
you want to know? You want to know? When I got diagnosed with ADHD,
Florida, I'm sending you a friend request to come up, bro. You got to leave and
hold
come
on,
back if you're not coming up. My bad. Go ahead, Sid.
when I got diagnosed with ADHD, my mama went and told my grandma. She said all that boy needed a good old ass whooping. And now that I look back on it, I said, man, that was damn near borderline abuse. Cause I don't think I got it no more, but I know back then I definitely had it. I just didn't have enough outlets to kind of like um you know uh use that energy towards. If I'm making sense. So it's crazy.
Nah, man, go ahead, Sid. Talk that shit. I know what you mean. I got two cousins that had ADHD, and when they first was diagnosed with that, I was either like denying that, like no, they don't have that. They don't have that. You know what I'm saying? It's they lazy, they this, they that. So we don't even recognize the science of what's going on. You know, so when we do recognize that mental health is real, it's like it's too late, or we recognize it, but we don't pass that information down. You know what I mean? Because it ultimately comes down to, do we think it's real? Do we think this is just people? It really, to me, comes down to, if you think it's real, you're gonna put in that energy. You're gonna invest in learning to help someone through that. If you don't really think that it's real, you're not gonna put in that energy to learn what that is, and recognize the signs. You know, so I don't think enough people care enough about mental health to really want to do something to make a change to help people through it, because that shit is it's crazy, it's spooky, it's scary. You know what I mean? A lot of people say they be in dark places. They don't even know what that means, man. They just
Mm.
shit. To be in a real dark place, Kiki, no.
Period.
She lost her baby. It's a dark place. I live.
And honestly, can we also talk about like certain prescriptions these doctors put people on when they see that you do have ADHD or some type of depression? Because those things, when you don't take certain prescriptions right, it makes you have suicide thoughts. It puts you in an even like deeper hole than you're already in, you know?
My cousin was 13. He took 14 pills a day. His brother took one. His mama smoked crack the entire time she was pregnant with him. So they was really fucked up. They good now because we had custody of them, helped raise them and everything. But like she said, 14 pills a day. And when he missed his medicine, that nigga was a wild boy. He be on the bus socking student. The nigga socked my grandma on her nose. I punched the fuck out of him and almost got us all fucked up because the bus was coming to get him. But I just blanked out. Seen the young man punch my grandma. I socked his ass. Now, I'm not thinking he dealing with ADHD or it's the medication. I'm just looking at him as this little nigga bad. To this day, I feel bad for it. I told him when I come back home, I'm gonna let him get that shot back. He about 21 now, but you know what I'm saying? The moment he didn't have his medication, it was a different person. When he on that medication, he's slow. It had, you know what I mean? It's crazy, and I'm not even a fan of the medication because it really had him zombied out.
Yeah.
But it's like if he wasn't on that, he was a goddamn fool. You know what I mean?
Um, hello everybody. But you're absolutely right. Medication slows you down on ADHD. Adderall is one of them I know, and it slow you down big time. It just make you in a little zombie mode. Your eyes will be all open, staring at one person. I've
It's
seen
like
that.
you're there, but you're not there.
You're not there. You don't know what's going on around you like that, and it's just that medication is something about it. And then they have another one for night that puts you to sleep. I don't know what's the name of it. But I know Adderall is one, and it really do slows you down. But to piggyback on what you said earlier, Vincent, growing up as a little child, we didn't know nothing about mental health. We didn't know nothing about depression because, okay, I'm be honest, my family, they was a poor family in a small little country town, but we made it work. We didn't know nothing about that. And I was there in the segregation times. We didn't know nothing about the water fountains and stuff, the separate bathrooms and everything, and not playing with white kids. We had white friends, but it's just we didn't know that much about it until we got older. It's a long story. We didn't know nothing much about it. We had to experience it when we grew up. If I could have stayed a child, I would have been a child right now. Cause growing up in this adulthood, it's nothing easy.
I agree, brother. I would too. I said it's crazy because when you're young, you just can't wait to get older. You can't fucking wait. And when you do, you're like, damn, man, that was the dumbest mistake I made. I spent so much of my energy and time trying to be grown than just enjoying my youth, you know? That I missed out on a lot. So, when you're trying to play catch up, you might as well just go ahead and give up on trying to get those memories and them moments back. You know what I mean? Just focus on what is in front of you. And for me, what's in front of me is I got a bunch of people that come from communities like mine all across this fucking globe that have been through some trauma, that been through some shit. And there's not enough people who care. There ain't enough people that even care that they may be going through some shit. Because we so quick to condemn, you know. So quick to condemn. Um we have family members that use us, that we know they use us, and we know they're using us, but it's some the connection we have with them that we allow it. Is that mental health? Like, is that a mental issue? Because if it was a stranger, you wouldn't even react like that. But because it's blood, it's relative, we give relatives passes. Like a relative can fuck you over and get a pass, but a stranger, a friend, can't do that, right? Now, I understand why people I don't even understand the logic of that, but I can understand how people can have the logic of that because we blood. But to me, the way I think now, it doesn't matter to me. We blood or not. You fuck me over, you fuck me over. But when I was younger, I think my mental was fucked up because I would just be like, that's family. It is what it is. You know, I think that's a form of mental health too. Just thinking that that's because they family, that shit is okay. You know what I mean? Oh, thank you, T Patrice. If you want to come up, Queen, you can come up. It's a safe space for real. Whatever your opinion is valued here, no matter what it is. If people don't like it, they can leave quietly. It's fine. But all opinions on this stage matter. Whether we agree with them or not, I don't care. I just be wanting to hear them. Different perspectives. That's what I want. Different perspectives. What's up, babe? Kiki, where did Kiki leave? She left. Hey, said,
Yo,
was you like that growing up, man? When you had family members, man, some you'll let slide, others you wouldn't.
yeah, grown, yeah, yeah.
You did, huh?
Man, I ain't letting no family slide.
I had a lot
You,
of family I let slide. Then I had a lot of family I put my hands on. And by you saying by you asking the question, shit, is that mental health? Now it really got me thinking like, why would I let you know my family slide, but not my partner or not somebody I know in the street?
that fucked up.
If I won't let them slide, why should I let these people slide? What I think, like I was talking to my cousin the other day, right? And I was like, bro, some things it was some stuff he said about me, and I'm like, dog, that kind of hurt my feelings, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm gonna need you to try to clean that up, or it's gonna be something a little bit different. And he just couldn't understand where I was coming from. You know what I mean? But I'm like, bro, you like my blood relative. I wouldn't expect that out of you. And I'm coming to you, with my like I'm coming to you basically telling you like, dog, like what you had offended me. You know what I mean? And like
Right.
by you being my cousin, I would think that you would, even if you couldn't see it how I see it, you know what you said was fucked up, bro. A simple, you don't even have to say you sorry, bro. I could have dealt with it. All right, man, it won't happen again. But in situations like that, I just never understand. Like, it's like, damn, why I have to go? Like, fucking, I'm gonna start going to the extreme on the ass. We can still love each other. We still family. I still love you, dog. But we're gonna have to cut that shit out. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, I'm gonna have that on my chest. You feel me? You gonna be walking around this bitch like everything cool, and I'm gonna be sitting around here like mad, throwing shit around my house, kicking shit. Nah, we ain't going for that. I ain't going for that.
Well, listen, my question is to everybody on the floor said, because of what you just said, let's identify what mental health is. What is mental health? What is mental illness? Do anybody, I don't need dictionary definitions if that's all right. Just with everybody's personal opinion of what mental health and mental illness is to them. You know what I mean? Mental health is obvious, your mental health. But what is mental illness to you? What is mental illness to y'all?
Damn, but that was a question. Like that was a question.
Peace, peace
I'm gonna have
to
to
the
think about that
space.
one.
What'd you say, Queen?
I said peace to the space. I'd like to give a go at the question, if that's
Yes,
okay.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
All right, let me know if y'all can't cut out because I'm taking a walk. So I come from a space where I was diagnosed as having a mental quote unquote illness as a child that I could have chosen to keep living my life under that label. Schizophrenia, manic depressive, all these labels that the society had put on me, coming from a space of medical evaluations and psychiatry and all of that. And so that's why the title of the space kind of drew me in. And mental illness, I refer back to the universal law of mentalism, when everything is mental. So whatever processes I was going through were definitely real. Um, being called delusional, or hearing these voices or seeing these visions, and to now that I'm 46 years old, I can sit inside of myself and travel back then and kind of associate what it was that I was going through and what I'm still going through. It never went anywhere. I just changed my perception. I took the whole 360 and I tilted around a little bit and get a different perspective. And mental illness is something that is a label, depending on where one sit. And I know that there is something inside that doesn't agree with society's definition of being normal. And so they want to just chalk it up to a person being mentally ill. Illness, to me, I refer that as being a sickness. And there's nothing sick about me. Um, we just like sometimes have to detach from the stigma and the isms and the schisms and go deep down inside of ourselves and really understand what it is, who we are, where do we come from, what are we doing here. And so once we go inside of ourselves, no, my answer is not going to be the same as everybody else's answer, and vice versa. So just to answer the question in a nutshell, mental illness is a label that is put on someone, that is them being sick, because it's sickness of your mental, and the way you perceive things as, sometimes it isn't accepted as normal. And I feel like I'm very gifted. I love nature. I've gotten into myself and see what resonates with me and what can get me out of the stigma of wearing a label as being mentally ill. And now I took away the illness and reduced it and went back in my zero, and now I just label myself as being mentally gifted. And so I'll stop right there. I come from the realm of infinite possibility, so I could go on and on and on and on, but I'll stop right there. I feel like that's sufficient. And thank you all for having a listening ear and a listening heart. Thank you. My name's Auntie Patrice.
Patrice, I just want to say, hey, Queen, thank you for that perspective. Real shit. I'm glad you brought that perspective too, because I wasn't even thinking of that. And I do halfway agree with what you said, with a lot of what you said. To be honest with you, the only thing I'm a push back on is this: you are right. It's a label, and that's true. But both can be true at the same time. This is what I think. I think the label mental illness is there's people out there who deal with mental illness, like myself, right? And I do know I deal with it. To give an example, I can wake up one day feeling like the best I've ever felt. And some days I can wake up and feel like, what the fuck is going on? And there's no rhyme or reason to it. It's how they spin it. You give them mental illness. Now how the masses is going to spin that, and that's what I think you're referring to, is how they spin it to society. It's you're not normal. It's you're not this. It's you're not that. No different than somebody that's addicted to drugs. They have a drug addiction. Now how they spin that is they're saying that the drugs don't they can have control over the drugs, and they just do it because they want to do it. There's no addiction involved. It's how you spin it. But I do believe that mental illness is real. I just think the way that they spin it to the masses is very unfortunate because it's this misinformation. But we live in a society in today where that's all we do. I mean, come to Clubhouse. You don't even got to go to the political landscape. Come to fucking Clubhouse. It's so much spin on here. I'm surprised niggas ain't dizzy and died. So I'm saying this is just where we're at. You know what I mean? The spin thing. That's why it's important to have these conversations and really tune in on what the fuck is really going on and what really matters, and tune out the bullshit, the noise, the spin, the other narratives, the this, the that. It's to put a flashlight on what's really going on in not just the black community, in all communities. Because this shit affects everybody. In our community, we can just identify what may have caused the mental illness, if not born with it, right? But in other communities, they also deal with this shit too. And that's what, I like to put the light on that it's a real thing, and not enough people care about it because it's not just because they don't care, it's because of so much spin, so much misinformation, so much bullshit that it just clouds the minds. And now you just throw your fucking hands up because you don't know what to believe. You don't know what to do. You don't know which way to go. You know what I mean? So I thank you. I definitely do appreciate you bringing that up. That was a damn good point. The spin of it is what is killing the people from caring about this illness. But let me ask you, Auntie Patrice, do you believe that mental illness is a real thing?
Absolutely, I do.
Okay, okay, hold on.
So I
Oh, okay,
don't consider your statement pushback at all. It's actually a push
okay,
forward. And yeah, I totally agree with you that it is a definite real thing. And I'm grateful to be able to go inside and explore it.
right. You know, I just think it's so much more that we can do within our own communities to help. And the only way we can do that is have dialogue, um, research, get information, share that information. And that right there in itself will help our community go a long way and other communities. You know what I mean? I just think it's we stay into that. We want to help, but you know what I mean? We got to worry about ourselves. And I get that because I'm the same way. I'm human, but I do think we still have to do our part. If we are knowledgeable about something that maybe a few of ours don't, are not privy to, or don't have anybody around them to help them, guide them, mold them, that should be our obligation to reach back. And I always say reach to the younger generation because that's the generation that is going to succeed us. But we also got to pass that information to those that are like minded like us, that like to share this type of information. So I've been wanting to have this topic for a long time because I see so many people who deal with mental health illness in my, not just on the street, but in my family, in my immediate family, myself. Hell, even my wife, who's on stage with us right now, she deals with some form of mental health because of shit she's been through in her fucking life. You know what I mean? She recognized it probably a lot sooner than I did, but I didn't. I just missed that shit. Actually, Charlemagne the God is what really brought it home for me when he was talking about it on the Breakfast Club one day, and then it just brought me back to my son and all that shit. And I said, "Damn, I need to reach out to my fucking doctors to see, prescribe me something, man. Let me see if it changes my mood or something." And for the most part, I think it works. Nothing's 100% guaranteed. You know what I mean? Um, but now I care. So if I see someone going through that now, I want to reach out to them and explain it, and I will. I'll tell them like, listen, man, like, God, they give you something, man, to help you with that. When I recognize the signs, we need more people that are knowledgeable about it and that care. I've never did this much talking in a room in my life. But yeah, you know what I mean. That's where I'm at with it. We don't care. We don't have enough people who are knowledgeable enough, who care enough to knowledgeable enough to care enough. Because there's so much spin, so much different narrative that's put out there. That's what it is. That's what's really stopping and blocking us from helping our people grow. You know. So I'll land there. Andre, anybody want to jump in? All day you can. Um, you know what I think is crazy, and I'm gonna land. I swear to God, when I do these type of topics, I appreciate y'all coming in, but I don't be seeing a lot of people want to come in here. That's my point. If I did a bullshit topic, my room would be packed right now. With something like this, people don't want to come in, and I don't blame them because there's so much misinformation, so much lack of information in our own community, information that we have in our community that we don't pass because, you know, we feel like a motherfucker don't want you to tell them nothing. You know what I mean? It's your approach though. You do have people. I'm one of those people. Don't just walk up to me telling me shit. But if you approach me in a respectful kind of way, I mean, listen to you. It's our approach a lot of the time. You know, people will listen. You give them something to listen to. Give them a reason to listen. But we just miss our people so quick because we think we just gonna get the bullshit, the attitude. I don't want to talk about it. Get the fuck out of here. You know what I'm saying? Ollie.
I just want to add to that I think the reason that people don't listen is because people don't want to acknowledge, a lot of people don't want to acknowledge that mental health is a real thing. People want to use the statement that mental health is an excuse. Mental health is an excuse for why people behave the way that they do, or mental health is an excuse for why people act the way they do. It's not an excuse. Mental health is real, and until society accepts mental health as a real thing, mental health is not going to be fixed.
That's true.
Now you
And
right, Crystal. Mental health is real, but also them not just white people. Just they'll use it to try to excuse their behavior.
that's what I was saying earlier. See,
And
that's where it gets. Go ahead.
I do agree with that statement that some people do use mental health as an excuse for why they behave the way that they do. But the people that are doing that have an underlying issue that is causing them to believe the way that they believe. They don't want to accept that there's something else going on. And so instead of saying, let's look at the big picture, they look at the small picture and they say that it's an excuse.
Yeah, you know, I had once I started realizing, all right, let me try to look into, my mental health and figure out what's going on. And I started digging deep with that, and I realized it's a lot of help out here. It really is. Like man, you know how many therapists it is out here, and how many it's just so many resources, bro, for free. Like I'm talking about the shit that you pay for, you can get that same. You can get like that same. How I want to put this, because I don't want to be too triggering, right? I'm just gonna say it like,
Just straight no chaser, man.
yeah, like the same kind of service you would get if you pay for it. It's resources like you can get that same kind of service and effect and result with these free resources, man. I think you once people come to grips, like, they once they come to grips and say, all right, let me, you know address the man in the mirror first, and then say, yeah, I need some help, and they get some help, man. Maybe things will be different. um but like Crystal said, a lot of people just don't want to. It's a real thing, but a lot of people don't want to address it. I don't know why. Maybe, it'll. I don't know. I can't even say. But, I tell a lot of brothers all the time, like, bro, it's free resources out here, dog. There's nothing wrong with talking to nobody. You know what I mean? Go and get you some help, bro. Like, it's nothing. There ain't nothing wrong with that. Even if you don't think it's nothing wrong with you, cool. It's always good to just talk some. Like, now that I realize what's going on and I went through those steps, I still talk to that same therapist, bro. Like, I'm not going to front, right? I talk to them, and all the troubles of the week, I dump that shit off on them. That's what they get paid for. Now, who they choose to dump it off on ain't none of my business, but I dump that shit off on them. Boom, there you go. Because that's what they there for. You know what I mean? So I think, I don't know. Like, I encourage a lot of people, like, man, even if you don't think there's nothing wrong with you, it's nothing wrong with just talking to somebody who absolutely don't know shit about you, don't even know you exist until you come in contact with them. Just dump that shit all off on them, man. You never know. You never know what you can get out, and even if you don't get nothing out of it, at least you can say you took that step. You know what I mean?
Hey,
You asked a question, said that you don't know why. If I heard you correctly, that you don't know why some people don't like to talk about it. And I'm going to give you my own personal experience. It took me a long time to be able to talk about the fact that I struggle with depression. I've struggled with depression since I was 16 years old. I'm 44 years old. It's been on and off over the last 28 years that I've struggled with it. I've had times where I've had to be on medication in order to get a balance, to be able to manage my depression, manage my anxiety. Um, and there's been moments where I've gotten myself to a place with the help of medication and counseling to where I felt okay and then didn't have to be on medication. I went, years without having to be on medication because I was able to manage my depression and my anxiety. Recently, I had to go back on medication to deal with the anxiety. Now, I don't personally know what was causing it. I don't know why. And when I went to my doctor, I told him that I don't know what's causing me to feel the way that I'm feeling, but this is how I'm feeling and I don't like it. Now, to answer your question, for me personally, the reason that I never wanted to talk about it is because of the stigma that's out there that if I have a mental illness, then I must be crazy. It's not a mental illness. It's just I'm crazy. I'm not a crazy person. I'm not crazy because I struggle with mental illness. I have an illness that causes me to feel certain ways at certain times. There may be underlying things that are going on that had caused me to feel that way. When I was 16, it was the fact that my mom and my stepdad, the only man that I had ever known as a father, were divorcing. It caused, I suffered um, physical abuse by my stepdad growing up. All those things caused me to be depressed and to feel the way that I was feeling. But I struggled with talking about it because of the stigma that's out there. Now, I don't have a problem talking about it. I will talk about it. I will share my story and I will advocate for mental health because mental health is real. Now, when I think about the stigma that's out there and does having a mental illness make you crazy? No, it doesn't. There's nothing that makes me crazy. Just because I have something that goes on in my brain that puts an imbalance to things doesn't mean that I'm crazy. It means that I need help. But in order for me to get that help, I may have to talk to somebody. But people don't like to talk because of the stigma that's there. If we could get that stigma gone, I think more people would be willing to talk about what they go through with mental health. And I'll land my plane.
That's a good point. You know, I have an aunt. Um, she deals with a lot of depression, and maybe it's because I don't know. I'm not gonna. I don't want to make it about me, but she deal with a lot of depression, and you know I ran about her once, and she said the same thing. She was like, I just don't want people to seem like I'm crazy, and I'm like, this country was built on crazy. You want to know what's real crazy? Is people think that Benjamin Franklin got struck by a bolt of lightning, flying a damn key on a kite,
Wake
and
it up.
then die. Nah, that's fucking crazy. That's crazy.
Wake it up.
But you feel what I'm saying? So I'm like, you know, and I get it, cause some it's some people got some some skeletons, man. They got some deep dark secrets.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? So in a way, I get it. But I'm like, you know, at what point do you get like, as far as her, since I was speaking about her, I'm like, at what point do you, like, what point do you get to where you're gonna have to release that energy? You feel what I'm saying? Like, you're gonna keep that bottled up, and that shit gonna destroy you. And maybe I was the wrong person to tell her this. I know well, not the wrong person. Well, I know I didn't choose my wording wisely. When I told her, I'm like, you know, we living in a society like the crazy ain't gonna be like, it's the lack of empathy. It's like the fact that people gonna be like, man, I don't give a fuck. I want to watch you self destruct. You see what I'm saying? So I'm I just I don't get it. I don't get it. But wherever I could, try to step in and be an advocate, or just say, man, listen, whenever my line always open, hit my line. You need to holler at me, or if you want this number, I can give you this number. But one thing I don't do is I'm only gonna make myself accessible if I see that you want the help. If you don't, I mean, there's nothing I can do about it. Cause sometimes, man, that shit that'll rub off on you. I and if I'm wrong, y'all please tell me I'm wrong. But sometimes I feel like people some of that stuff will rub off on you, and like the person
Mm-hmm.
you try to help, they be like, well, shit, you fucked up too. I'm like, oh, I'm fucked up because I was trying to help. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
before I let it
Mm-hmm.
rub off on me, it's like, no, I need you to realize that you got a problem. When I had to go to anger management and all of that, they made me stand up and say, they was like, you gotta say that you got a problem. I'm like, I don't got no fucking problem. They was like, yeah, you gonna have a problem if we send you back to jail. I'm like, shit, my name is Sam. I got a problem with my anger. You feel what I'm
You
saying?
stupid.
I'm being serious, bro. So I'm like,
Yeah, I feel you.
yeah,
I
if you
feel
gotta
you.
admit that you got a problem. All right, I got a problem. I like to fucking drink all the time. I like to have sex. I like to overeat, or whatever it is, whatever your vice is.
Yeah,
Just
whatever
recognize
they.
it, and when you do, then you can start from there. You know how much of a time it takes. Nobody trying to rush you. It's like, I'm not trying to rush you to figure it out, but it's like, be time considerate, because we live in a, like, this society we live in don't have no love. You was right, Vince. Like, they don't have no love, no empathy for nothing. Dude in the
No.
hood just got somebody cracked him, and niggas was talking like it was his fault.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
bro, at what point do we get like? I'm like, at what point do we get to? Because I had to catch myself. I was like, man, I don't know. I don't even know if I want to call an ambulance. Then I said, whoa, this a little kid. I called the ambulance fast, like, yo, somebody just got. And we standing all around talking. I'm like, bro, at what